Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's FPV podcast. This week, we're going to talk about something very interesting. There's a new up-and-coming league that we just found out about, and we definitely want to know a lot about this league. This is a very interesting format, so we're glad to have them on the show. But before we introduce our guests, Elvin, why don't you say hello?
Hello, everybody. Just want y'all to know, get you some of that right there. If you don't know what that is, go look up the Mini Drac. It's one of the most known versatile little planes out today. If you're in the FPV, go get you one. Right Wing RC. See you later.
Napa Racing? Is that what you're sponsoring this week?
Yeah, I got them too, but...
Okay, yeah, sure. I don't believe you. All right, Ken, please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Ken. I'm the commissioner of racing with Pro Aerial League.
Good to meet you, Ken. And Mike, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Mike. I'm the executive vice president of Pro Aerial League.
Great. Nice to meet you both.
We got the big wigs up here today.
That's right. So the Pro Aerial League is something new, brand new, and up and coming. So before we get into that, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
I kind of really got into drones from the education standpoint. So I started in 2015. I started working with kids and trying to figure out, hey, how can we engage kids in STEM education and get them excited about science, technology, engineering, and math. And so really what came out of that is if you hand something to a kid or you get them kind of engaged with something, then you can really back out the education around it. So started with the education piece, working on developing some programs for kids, and then that got into actually the drone manufacturing space and working for a company there manufacturing racing drones. That's what brought me to this point. So,
okay, are you still doing that or?
No, I'm all Pro Aerial League now. So we're focused on the team aspect and the entertainment.
All right, sounds pretty cool. What about you, Ken? What do you got for your background?
Yeah, so I've been in the RC industry all my life. I mean, I used to race cars, fixed wings, 3D heli. I mean, you name it, I've done it. I got out of it a little bit when I had kids and started a family. And then the drone thing, started getting a little bit bigger, say about 2015, I got back into it and, started racing and trying to compete with these guys and realized I wasn't as fast as a lot of the guys out there. And, I could use a lot of my other talents for organizing and, developing. So now I'm more of a race organizer, the president of Seattle Multi-Rotors, commissioner of Pro Aerial League now. And now we just try and focus on putting on great events and entertaining our spectators.
Yep, I totally understand you, Kent, because I'm the same way. At a certain point, you're like, you know what? I better just put my energy into actually organizing instead of just failing at racing.
Yeah, but you're good. You're good. Why don't hey everybody, don't let White fool you.
Hey, top 10. Yeah, I'll be in the top 10 anytime, right?
Yeah, there you go. That's why right there.
You guys are funny. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the Pro Aerial League. So where did this brainchild come from?
Yeah, so we put on the event together, Ken and I, and a group in Seattle last year in December called GE2. And what it was a really cool event. It's the Gaming and Experiential Entertainment Expo, and it was a 2-day event, and it brought together action sports, virtual reality, and drone racing and gaming all to the same event. And so really what you could imagine with all those stuff coming together is kind of stimulus overload. And out of that event, we really kind of, the drone racing was one of the key success things, and everybody just started gravitating towards it. And so then we started talking, we started working on it since December. We said, hey, how can we replicate the atmosphere, the feel, the excitement that all these people that never seen drone racing before, and introduce it to them in a way that they can kind of get to understand it and get involved in it. Mm-hmm. That's how we kind of got started.
Cool. You got anything to add to that, Ken?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the story. You know, it was a great event. We pulled pilots from Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and we, you know, out of nowhere, it was kind of the. It turned out to be the best indoor event of 2016, and it was great because this year now we're going to be the centerpiece of GE2 in October, and it literally was the springboard of what now is Professional Aerial League.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So, Professional Air League, did you come up with that designation or that name after GE2, or was that what it went under in the first time?
Yeah, so the first time it was just a GE2 race. You know, Seattle Multirotors, we came in and hosted the event and we brought in pilots from all over the place. And then over the course from maybe December to April, May, you know, we kind of were talking and hypothesizing. And then all of a sudden, you know, the bubble burst and we had all of these things. You know, we were at Portland International Raceways just recently with our basically our launch event that turned out to be amazing. But Professional Aerial League was something I think it took us maybe two months or so to figure out the name, Mike.
Yeah,
Dude.
It was, you know, when you're starting a business and you're starting one around drone racing,
Dude, all the names are
shouldn't be that
taken.
complicated, but it took a while to
Exactly,
get around
right.
the
All
same
the
page.
names
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, oh damn, no,
And somebody already,
no.
no, they already did that, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, every URL is taken. I can only take one that's a URL that's like this long or something that nobody
Exactly.
wants to spell out. It's like, what's going on?
That's
I know
right.
how you feel. Totally know how
Not
you feel on that.
freedrones.com.
So,
Right.
now, before we actually move away from that subject, I mean, like every organizer after an event says, we did this really well and we need to do this a lot better. So,
Yeah.
do you have like a pro and a con you want to share with us for GE2, like right off the top of your head? Like, you want to start, Ken? It's like, what did you think that went really well, and what did you think is like we really need to improve upon that?
You know, as far as the race went, I think everything went as good as it possibly could have gone, you know, and that's why things have developed the way they did because the pilots were on point. You know, the organizing was great. We got a lot of support from the community, which is also a huge thing with the drone industry, as the community is huge. You know, so I don't think as far as the race goes, I wouldn't have done anything different. You know, what we could have done better, you know, is always, even still today, is just marketing. You know, it's just getting what we're doing into the hands of the people that don't know we're doing it. You know, because once you see somebody that says, hey, I've never seen this before, but it's really, really cool, you know, their opinion changes, you know, in an instant. You know, so putting ourselves in a real positive way, I think, for the event would have helped a lot.
Awesome. What about you, Mike? What were your takeaways?
Yeah, I think you know what we out of that event, we knew right away that drone racing was kind of really the highlight of that. But what we wanted to do was take it one step further with Pro Aerial League and our events. First one coming up August 19th, is we really wanted to engage people that came to the event. So you know we're gonna for this event we're gonna do a little bit better job of with support of Bat Shark of getting a whole bunch of headsets on people, letting them be, you know, on a pilot's rooting behind a
That's right.
team. And so that'll really kind of help them feel it a little bit more as well. But Ken was right. The event was very successful. They had FPV monitors up. We'll have a few more and goggles at this one, and then also drone simulators and everything else. So this one, it'll just be more of a focus on the team drone racing aspect of it, as opposed to the GE2 when it was just kind of off to the in another corridor.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I think, the niche we're really trying to kind of grab onto is the team aspect. You know, I mean, having an individual pilot is fun, you know, and you can get behind the person you relate to. But when you have a conglomeration of personalities and they come together to create a new personality, you know, it's really fun to get behind that itself.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So let me ask you this. If I was a new person and I just came up to you and I saw your nice little t-shirt, it says Pro Aerial League, and I asked you, hey, what is that? What would you say to me?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so the Pro Aerial League, we're basically the first professional team drone racing league in the United States. But if you come to our events, you're not only going to get to watch something really badass, you're going to get to experience something as well. So our events are really great because just of a couple of things we just hit on was that we're really trying to engage the audience in a number of things, some drone related and some just entertainment related. So we can get into a little bit more later, but our events are surrounded by experiential entertainment and educational activities where fans, spectators get to come and actually do laser tag, dodgeball, Nerf. They get to do flight simulators, build a drone, whole bunch of stuff around drone racing and technologies. It's really fun and entertaining.
Pretty cool.
Sounds like Maker Fair. Damn.
It's a drone maker fair. That's
extreme maker fair. Yeah.
I mean, we're used to that here in Portland. We've had a few big, decent size events. You know, not just for the drones. It's centered wise. It's been drone for the whole community, UAS and all that. You know, Oregon is one of the focal points of unmanned aerial, systems. If nobody knew that, Oregon is like the big state where everybody comes to meet and talk about. We got our own Oregon Test Center out here in Bend.
That's right. Yeah.
We got a warm when we were down there, like Ken was heading out in July at the Portland International Raceway. I mean, we got everybody involved. It was really great to do a race, with both a traditional car racing crowd and people coming up to the race saying, "Hey, what is that? What is that?" So it was a really good time to be in Portland earlier in July.
That's pretty cool. Looks like you guys got a lot on your plate to organize as an event because, like, a lot of the times just getting the pilots there racing and doing a good flow on that takes a lot of energy from at least two guys, So definitely try to pull off a lot. How's your team? Is it more than just the three of you? I think there's 3 co-founders. Is that right?
We've got a pretty big team.
9.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be 9 co-founders if I'm counting correctly.
Well, that's
you're
good.
Right. There's no way. Yeah, when you're trying to build something, from all angles, you need a lot of partners, a lot of support, get people on board to tackle this from both the drone racing standpoint, and an entertainment standpoint. So.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Now, 9-person team. That's a strong team. That's really good to hear, because, it's a lot of work. I know what you guys are coming from. It's just a whole bunch of work. So talk to me a little bit about the team format, because there's, a whole bunch of ways to do a team format. What is your specific way? So you want to start off, Ken?
Yeah, so I probably am the best one to answer that question. So what we're starting with is 6 teams of 6 pilots. And, these pilots are based from Idaho, Washington, and we've got a couple down in Oregon. What we're doing is, our event day is probably a 7 or 8 hour day. And we're trying to fill 6 of those hours of just straight drone racing. We're going to have different challenges each hour. We're going to have individual challenges and team challenges. We're going to be racing against the clock. We're also going to have like a relay challenge where, you're running around being crazy, changing batteries and flipping over quads and, just all sorts of mayhem, trying not to get hit by a quad, all within that time. And what we're going to do is all of those points that everybody earns is going to go towards, a main pool of points for each team. And then the 2 teams are going to battle it out at the end for the top spot for each event. Okay.
So in an event or maybe a heat, is there 6 teams flying at the same time or 2, or how's that go?
So it could be different based upon each challenge, right? So your individual challenge, you're going to have 6 teams of each, 1 pilot per team. But maybe on your team challenge, you're going to have every pilot from one team flying together. So your strategies are going to change based upon which challenge that you're working with. So we're not working with the same old, I don't want to say redundant, but where it gets a little bit repetitive, where just laps matter. Excuse me, because you're also getting rewarded for finishing position on top of lap count. So, and then towards the end, your finishing position could really make or break where you're going to end up in your standings.
Okay. So is this like like I think it's pretty popular right now to do things like double elimination, stuff like that. Like how's it going? Is it single elimination all the way through, or what's the format on that?
I mean, I would call it maybe single elimination all the way through, right? So we're going to go all the way through to the end, and top two teams are going to compete at the end for final bragging rights at the end of each singular event, which is going to build up towards a main event at the end of our season.
Okay, so all points that they accumulate will carry on, kind of like what the RL does with season points. So they accumulate throughout, and then there will be a last event.
It's similar. I would call it wins and losses. We're really trying to put ourselves on a professional level, not just, I mean, we're using the support of grassroots systems. I don't want to say we're not grassroots by any means, but we're trying to step the game up just a little bit, or a lot of it actually, with what we're doing.
So
would you say, can it be kind of the NFL? It's kind of like an NFL style
totally
approach to it, where we're taking drone racing to a team level, and then at the end of the 2017-2018 season, we'll have our inaugural Pro Air League championship.
Correct. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's really what I envision, honestly, is a, professional NFL, NBA, type sport for us.
Okay, so nice. In a given event, like a singular given event, are the formats always consistently the same, or is it every event there could be a different format?
The formats are going to stay, at least for now, similar per event, and just so we have some kind of baseline. We don't want to make things too confusing while we're starting out, but, we're working with Charlie Swanka, who is, really big in the whole, racing scene, and he's helping out a lot with the race formats. And he's got a lot of opinions when it comes to how to make it really exciting, not just for the pilots, but for the spectators too, because it's fun to make it fun for the pilots, but we got to make it fun for the people who are actually going to watch it, right?
Well, I think that's the biggest challenge, right? Yeah, like Elvin knows this, right? It's like, how do you get the spectators there to watch, right? That's been really hard.
Right.
You got to get a fool.
So is the format geared specifically to try to entertain, the audience that are there?
Not specifically. We're still going to make it challenging for the pilots. I think we want to. So when we did our tryouts, we set up our course in an 85 by 200 foot track, just the same size as our arena, which is small when we're talking about drone racing, right? Mm-hmm. I see your nods. It was a challenge. But so here's what I found. When we set it up, and we set up a course that was technical enough for the pilots to still be entertained, but easy enough that they were still finishing laps and counting up points, that the spectators could come in and hear me announcing, and were able to track really, really easily what was happening, who was in first, who was leading. So, when most of the time when we're putting on drone races, we're using these huge environments that, a spectator sitting in one point can't track a drone through the whole environment. So when you put it into a small arena size environment, a spectator can really see who's in first or who their favorite pilot is. We're going to be associating every team by color. So each team is going to have a separate color throughout the event, and that same color. So, I mean, and again, I think we're not focusing the racing on the spectator experience, but I think big picture wise, we're really trying to make sure that the spectators can track and follow along with what we're doing.
That's pretty cool. And I think that's one of the things that is really working in your favor, since the teams, and if they can stick to a specific colors, there's definitely could be some great consistency there, knowing like which quad or which drone is actually belonging to which team, because it gets hard when there's 32 or 60 pilots out there, because everybody runs all sorts of colors. It's like, I don't know.
Well, exactly, right? Well, and I will say this, one of our partners that's come into what we're doing is Thrust UAV, and they've actually given each pilot Thrust UAV riots. So it's really going to be a spec class, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with those drones, but they're bright. So each one of those drones running around a course in a specific color for a specific team is really going to make it so much easier.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, Mike, you got anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Yeah, I think just from, hitting back a little bit what you guys were talking about, engaging spectators, engaging the audience, because drone racing is kind of tough to follow. And when you have pilots going up and loading in, loading out. So with, like Ken was saying, we got 6 teams, the Aces, the Daredevils, Team Carbon, the Cyclones, the Generals, and the Renegades. So there's going to be, again, going back to kind of that professional sports model, we're going to have, people, we're trying to get fans, spectators involved to another level to where they're not only behind their favorite pilots, they're also behind their favorite team. So I think that's really going to help the sport along.
That's right.
In regards to engagement.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Go ahead, El.
I got a question. So the event that you guys had in Portland in July, that was a team event too?
No, that was an exhibition event. So that was just come and fly what you got. Had a good time. We had great sponsors come in for that. Progressive RC, Max Amps, Hobby Wing. I'm probably forgetting some, but they came in, and so top pilots got cash. We pooled all of the entry fees and just split it out between the top 5 pilots.
Wow.
6, I think 6th place won some, 5th place. 6th place didn't get anything, but yeah. So I mean, we're always trying to give back as much as we can, especially in those exhibitions. I mean, those are just fun. We're trying to get ourselves out to the community. Northwest FPV was big in helping us with that. And, one of the other things we're really trying to help out with is just if we come into a place that maybe, a bigger venue wants to bring us into, we're trying to support those local clubs. We're not trying to come in and take over anybody's territory by any means. We're trying to help them and bring them up and support them in any way we can.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Mike just talked a little bit about the teams. Obviously, you have 6 teams, and you already introduced the teams. Tell me a little bit about how you guys picked the pilots for the teams, because I think the trials are already done. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah. So tryouts were a couple weeks ago, and I don't remember the exact date anymore because there's so many dates in my head. But what we did out of those tryouts was we didn't really based upon score through the event take the top 6 or intentionally take the top 6, but it turned out that the top 6 through the event or the race that we put on ended up being our team captains for this season. And so we assigned our captains, and then between the captains and us as Pro Aerial League, we got together and then just did a draft. Now I'm off flustered, you guys.
So you were picking team captains. Start from there.
Right.
Yeah. So we picked our team captains. We weren't intentionally trying to pick our team captains from the top pilots. We were looking at pilot ability, mechanical ability, leadership ability, and also, social stuff, marketing ability as far as making this a, wide stream event. So we picked our captains, and we picked some great captains for each team. And from there, the captains and I got together and we went through the roster and picked what they felt were the top 25 pilots from the 36 to try it out.
So talk to me, you picked your team captains, and then you said you had a draft. So does just a whole bunch of pilots put their name in a pool and they can just draft whoever they wanted? How did that work?
And so we actually drafted from our tryouts. So,
okay, I got you.
Exactly. So the top 5 that were from the tryouts ended up, actually they were from the top 6. I will say our top pilot from tryouts was Brody Springer, I think his last name is, Robogenesis, which you guys, I don't know if anybody's heard of, but is on the sim, the fastest sim pilot in the nation. He's raced 3 races and already is beating our fastest pilots. Cody Knudsen is one of our really fast pilots out here, and he actually, sorry, I'm going to fix this. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
That's lame. Cody Knutson is one of our top pilots out here, and I don't think has ever been beat. And Brody is probably going to be faster than him. I don't know if you guys saw Sorrel or Zero's races from regionals and finals, but he broke records, and he's also going to be on one of our teams, and I think they're going to compete head to head.
Nice, nice. So now that you have the 6 teams set up, are they on board for the entire event schedule?
Correct. Yep. Everybody's committed to the full 2017/18 season.
Cool. So can you talk to me about the schedule? I know you mentioned that the first one's on August 19th, right?
Correct.
So talk to me about the first one. What's the first one going to be?
So the first one's, our inaugural event. We're really excited about that. I mean, that's just, we're trying to prove what we're doing is as cool as we think it is. We're bringing everybody in, and we've got our team races slated. We've got all the ancillary activities slated. We're in a great location at Xfinity Arena in Everett, and they have been just amazing working with us. There's a lot of fun stuff happening that day in our area too that we're hoping to try and poach on a little bit and get them in to, experience our event. But we're really just trying to, put on a great show and make sure that everybody that is there have a great time.
Awesome. Mike, you got anything to add to that for the first event?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ken's right. So this is a big deal because this will be the first professional team drone racing event where spectators come solely to cheer on their favorite teams and experience a whole bunch of activities. So Ken is right. This is definitely a big deal, and really we have like 4 areas where we kind of are going to measure success of this event. We really want to introduce the audience at large. That a lot of them don't even know what drone racing is, but are taking a chance coming out to this event. So we want to put on a good show for them. We really want to kind of, with all the activities around and everything, we really kind of want to engage the audience in the newest technologies, virtual reality, laser tag, Nerf dodgeball, even a chance to fly a drone. We're going to have tiny drone stations set up. People can come in and actually fly a drone and on top of simulators and everything else. So, really, if we can introduce them, if we can engage them, and then kind of the final thing is connect them. We really want to let let people know, hey, this is a sport that professionals are flying in front of you, but it's not that difficult to get into. You have local FPV groups in your communities, you have local meetup groups. Really, there's a lot of people around, and we really want to kind of educate the crowd on, where they can kind of go to get connected to their local FPV groups and start flying.
Okay, pretty cool. Now, you guys talked a little bit about the beginning in which, you need to market this thing and make sure that everybody knows that it's going to be going out this particular day. Are you guys have like particular strategies that you're going to market the professional aerial league and also the teams? Is that already in the works?
So what I can start on this and Ken could finish up for me. So really, we have kind of a 3-headed approach. So we really want to make sure that we engage the FPV community at large. Ken's doing a great job with Seattle Multi-Rotors and engaging the FPV community in the Northwest. Then we also want to engage general members of the publics, families, kids, and everything, just to let them know, awareness about the event, what opportunity they have. And then really, trying to grow this league and really grow the sport, we have to engage partners, both in the drone racing space and outside. So, again, we mentioned a couple of them, but Fat Shark, Liftoff, Fly Blocks, Thrust UAV, lots of different partners in the industry, and then outside of the industry as well. The city of Everett's given us a lot of support, and other different businesses as well. So really trying to engage everybody at a certain level and to come out and check us out.
Cool. Ken, what do you got to add?
Well, I there was an email that went out a couple of days ago that Mike said he was going to dress up and start canvassing the streets of Everett, trying to get people into the event.
Good thing I didn't share that photo with you. Ken. You're
gonna get a clock too.
Exactly.
Right on the same page. It's whatever it takes to promote this event.
Drone hanging off your neck.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. The big old bling, right?
Yeah, big F-450 hanging off your neck.
Whatever the hype train is. What's the hype? I don't know what the hype train is right now.
Hyperlight stuff. Hyperlight
There you
stuff.
go. Exactly. Yeah, right.
You need a couple of them in your back pockets.
That's right. Yeah.
I always said you could always put one on your wrist like a corsage.
Just
Now
put
we're
a
off
little
topic.
bit of voltage to it so it
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
No, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think the code we're really trying to crack, which we can, ask you guys for help and our listeners for help or viewers for help, is that social media aspect. I think right now in 2017, where we're at is, people are really just interested in what's happening and what's hot right now. And, when you really get on that social media bandwagon, and you get the support from people, and they take just a little bit of time and effort it takes to, forward or share or whatever it does, that's what really helps. And I think that's what we're really, the little piece that we're really trying to connect right now.
So I would say from personal experience, if you want the locals to show up, it's still actually the news. And like we just ran a race down here for New Albany, so we worked with the city to run a race at their amphitheater down in the riverfront. And one of the things that the city did for us, and I think you'll probably have the same connection, is that we were on the morning news 3 days in a row before the event, and that brought hundreds of people down. So that's just don't mess up the times, because we kind of messed up the times, and that really got a lot of people confused. But that's beside the point. But locally, it's still the news, especially if you want the family and the people that don't know anything about drones. They're still getting the majority of that information from the news. If you're getting the FPV guys, the guys that are already in the community, it's just all social media. The only issue is, and I think this, is that it's really hard to stay on top of those lists because they run so fast. You make one post and it's 50 posts under in about 2 minutes.
That's right. Well, and exactly. And that's why it helps having that social presence. I mean, if you have 5 people on your group that, or say, hey, I like what you do and I'm going to share your post, then that's 50% more exposure for all of us,
5 turning to 25.
It's tough, though. I mean, like,
it is. Oh, absolutely.
So, like, what is your goal? Do you have a goal on like the number of spectators you want there, or like, is this one of those things where you're kind of trying to go a little bit DRL style, in which you're trying to record a bunch of stuff and then be able to do a lot of cool stuff in post?
So I'll start and then I'll let Mike jump in after that. So, I mean, kind of like we were talking before we started, our goal for August 19th was to just sell one ticket, to get one person that said, hey, I like drone racing, or heck, I don't even like drone racing, but I like the other stuff that you guys are putting on and I'm interested, and luckily we kind of blew that out of the water, so I think, now, take what we've done and just grow it. We're hoping to, take our Pacific Northwest bubble, grow it to, the whole West Coast and then some, into 2018-19. We'd like to turn, this team thing into something that, a lot of people buy into, because I mean, honestly, I have a lot of fun with it. I wish I could be racing with these guys just because it's going to be a blast.
Sounds cool. Mike, what do you got to add in?
Yeah, I think, we've already kind of come out, we've announced the event, we've gotten partners on board. So really at this point, it's just like Ken was saying, engage as many people as possible, and then, and put on a good show and really connect with the Northwest. We really want to bring this sport mainstream, bring it kind of out of the fringes, just more, from where it has been, entertaining pilots, and make it more so it's entertaining and engaging people. So I think we're going to start that off on a great note on August 19th.
Pretty cool. Right.
And it's in an arena, right? It's in a hockey arena, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So is the arena going to be full of ice? How's this work?
For our first event, it's not going to have any ice. However, through our next events, there will be ice in it, which adds an extra, element of the challenge throughout the whole race.
Man, you can
Yeah,
skid
because it's
that.
a little different to freezing.
Hey,
It's
you
a
know
little
what?
different to, go ahead.
You could have a little straightaway in which you have to skid across the ice. That'd be kind of cool. That's not flying, but it'd be interesting.
Exactly.
There was some guys doing tricks not too long ago like that, like skidding across the ground and doing flips and off of little ramps.
Yeah, we're in the Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, 9 months out of the year, that's what we have to deal with.
You guys are pretty up there. But you know what? On the bright side of things, I've seen the community list. There's a lot of people that fly up there. So you got a lot of pilots to pull from, which is really cool, and hopefully that some of them will come and watch. You got to get the community come in and get the rest of the people in there. Now we just talked a lot about August 19th. Do you have dates for the rest of the races, or is that to be announced later?
Well, the first day, so the next event after that, the PAL event 2 will be at GE2, and that's the Gaming Experiential Entertainment Expo, and that's in October, correct? October 21st and 22nd, I believe. And Ken could correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
But we haven't released the other dates quite yet. But likely November, the seasonal will run kind of the fall winter course, and so likely go through February, potentially March. So, but we'll keep you posted as soon as we do announce those dates.
Okay, cool, nice.
Yeah, we're hoping to do about 5 total races this season.
Is that 5 and then the championship, or 4 and the championship?
4 and then a championship.
4 and the championship. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's still a lot of events. That's almost like an event every other month for the year, which is
and
that's actually.
So you guys are planning on growing the teams in 2018, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're encouraging. I mean, what we'd like to do is set up. Our ultimate 5-year plan is nationwide. I mean, just being honest, I think that's where we'd like to go. And I think that's where drone racing is going. I think, instead of it being an individual sport, which is fun, making it a team sport and nation. I mean, just like a household name. I mean, you got you got Napa Racing up there. Yeah, you can have power racing right here.
Right.
I mean, that's
well,
Go ahead. No, Elvin, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting that you guys are going that route because other guys have not gone that route. I mean, team racing is there's many races that have touched base on team racing, but no one has done it again. They do one event and then it's done. And I don't know why it's like that, but I'm interested.
They're not up for the challenge.
Hey. If you, that's what I'm saying. I would like to see some serious team racing. I mean, there's stuff that could go on inside your city, inside your state. Like the Eugene, the college guys down there, and you got Portland Community College group now, and drone racers, and you got all these little groups popping up, and maybe out of those groups you'll find the right teams. You know what I mean? Exactly. But I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking is like, there's Northwest FPV, there's Portland Multirotor, there's Salem, Oregon Drones. Those each group could have a team, too. So that's one of those options that you could
exactly
expand on.
And I think where this is going is each one of those individual multi-GP teams would be seeder groups to our main professional teams. So we're eventually when we're to the point where we've got team managers and scouts and things like that, we would definitely be working with those individual groups still, because there's always that cream of the crop, those top 3 or 4 pilots that are just looking for an opportunity to kind of get the name in their skills. And have everybody else like me that is just trying to keep up.
I know that feeling. Mike, do you have anything to add to that before we move on?
And on top of that, really what we're hoping these events do is they really, kind of shine a light on the sport of drone racing in a positive way, and really, hopefully, spark some interest in kids and whoever else that may want to get into the groups, and then it goes back to feed those groups. Goes back to feed the local FPV groups, or maybe it's just in a drones or drone technology and goes to the meetup groups or whatever it may be. But really, we're trying to by putting on these events, just really try to point the direction to, hey, here's how you get started, and here's where you get started.
Definitely.
Exactly. And just to touch on that for just a second, we were recently up at a promotional event in Everett called Touch a Truck, and it was a kids event, and it was free. Just all the kids come in, and the kids love the drones. I had a tiny whip out there, and I was flying throughout the whole arena, and they got to chase it, and their parents got to just hang out and watch their kids burn calories. And it was a lot of fun, and then we're going to be at an event this weekend called the Festival of the River, which is, we're really trying to gear it also as well towards, the kids and the educational thing, because I mean, you hear it said all the time, but the kids are the future. I mean,
Right.
They're beating us every day on the drone races. They're going to be the ones that are, developing everything, so we totally just have to try and connect with them. And then the parents kind of follow suit, honestly.
Right. No, the kids are important.
If you want daddy and mommy to come out and spend hundreds of dollars on, your drone racing event, buying hot dogs and candy and whatever the hell else you decide to sell, concession stand, then you got to play to the kids. Because if you don't play to the kids, you don't have the drive. I mean, we as fathers or husbands or significant others, we know what it's like trying to get somebody else to leave the house. At the beginning, like in 2015, my wife was like, I'll go to the event with you. This is going to be awesome. Great. And then now she's like, you go by yourself. I don't
My
need
wife
to go.
Still tags along, I have to say.
Yeah, but that's awesome. So that's what I'm saying. But the more you play into the kids and maintaining the wives and the significant others, giving them other things to do, because there's other aspects of drone racing that are interesting. Like I saw some guy doing painting with a drone. That was pretty interesting, and it got people's attention. So stuff like that is still capable of drawing others in and keeping people occupied.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I think there's actually some race directors, I include myself into this, in which, we're ready to run some team events. I've run team events. I can mention like Greg Diviner up in the Chicago area. He's ready to run some team racing events. So we're all kind of looking to see if you guys can really pull it off and make this big, because if there is, then, there could be a chance for this to spread. But I understand, it's definitely a hard market right now to get it. There's a lot of people vying for, I don't know, pilot share or audience share. I don't know, sponsorship share. You name it. There's competition everywhere for it.
That's right. Well, and you know what? That's something that we are feeling is, it feels like there's competition. And, I'm the type of guy where I'd rather work together to build something bigger, and I think if we can, all kind of get on that mindset, then, we can all come together. Like I was waiting for I have been developing this team racing thing since I started organizing races, and, have the opportunity with GE2, and then which, has transitioned into professional league, has, just been a blessing for me, because now I get to, make my brain a reality, so I mean, I know where you're at right there with the team racing for sure. It should be, hopefully
the thing of the future. Who knows? Mike, you got anything to add?
No, I just echo the same thing Ken just said a second ago. There's a lot of people listen to your guys' podcast, and they're all over the country, all over the world, and same kind of thing. We're just definitely looking for partners, and we're all about just engaging the sport all the way around, and hopefully more and more people get into the sport and enter the sport.
Cool.
That's right.
That's right. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about goals. So, at the end of this 5 races, what are your top 3 things that you're hoping to accomplish? Obviously, we know one. You want to sell 1 ticket to the audience. I think you're pretty safe on that one. You set the bar low on that one. So how about some higher goals? You want to start, Ken?
I can start.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I'll start, and then Ken could jump in here. I think after the 2017-2018 season, there's going to be a lot of things we're gonna figure out. We're going to get better and better each event. But really, I think what our top thing is, if we put on a product on the field that's not only great for racers but great for spectators, I think our next thing will be, then hey, let's go to other markets. Let's go to Portland. Let's go to different markets in California. Let's grow the sport that way. So that's probably the number one thing in my mind. I'll let Ken fill in 2 and 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, as the organizer, for me, I'm just looking to get through the season.
I know that feeling.
But we've bitten off a lot, and I feel like luckily it's me that's carrying it, so I can take it on. One of I think the biggest struggles that I would like to or challenges that I would like to meet are helping sponsors feel like they're actually getting their value, because it's tough for us as organizers, and I know to go out and get sponsors for events, because for them, sure, you get a 30 pilot or 40 pilot event, which is great as an organizer, but that's not like the outreach that sponsors are specifically looking for. So if we can put on this season and start filling the seats more and more and build up to an end of the season and not, have any sort of plateau or downgrade, where the sponsors can come in and buy in and feel like they're getting their value with the Pro Aerial League, then, on top of putting on great races, I'll feel accomplished.
And I'll come back for number 3, because I think everything Ken said is excellent. We need to have the sponsors feel that they're getting the value, and then back to the spectators feel that they're getting their value, because on top of the team drone racing, that's going to be exciting. Again, we're taking a different approach to spectator events as a whole because of our experiential entertainment piece of this, so we're really trying to all season long really create memorable experiences for people that come to our events, so right. It's something that you could check out the drone race. You could go try to fly a drone yourself, go do a virtual reality station, come back to the drone race. We really want to kind of change how traditional sports are watched and experience and make it more of an experience for people come out to the events.
Cool, definitely. And there is a lot to this, and it's one of those components to where making a drone racing event entertaining has a lot of components. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the major sports, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, there's a lot to do during that event. You hear a lot of things people call going to events, and what they're doing is tailgating. They're socializing. The actual game itself is just one component of what makes it special and why people actually go out and spend all this money, to be in a crowd of 100,000 people and be compacted into a single area. Right. Because sometimes it is not comfortable. And
it's that mob mentality, right?
Definitely. And it's one of those things where I don't think right now, just like you said, I don't think we've found that formula to be able to attain that mass. And I also completely agree with you. In terms of sponsors, it has changed a lot. In 2015, if you can put on a good event, you can get good sponsorships easily. 2016, it started a little bit going down, but it was still possible. In 2017, it just dropped.
Right. Well, and the thing that we've heard is, another drone racing league. You know, and that's kind of what we're dealing with, because everybody's kind of started their own league, and I don't want to say that casually, but I just mean that there are a lot of leagues, if you look at globally, that are, they go and they put on an event and they bring in big sponsors, and then you don't quite hear from them much more afterwards. And which we're trying to deliver with saying, hey, we're guaranteeing up to 5 events this season. We're slated as far as a group to put on a 2018-19 season, to try and bring that value back and say, let's put it like this, we don't want to be a one-hit wonder.
Exactly.
Well, I want to say this. I don't think there's too many leagues. I think what it is there's not enough return off each one of these races.
Correct. Exactly.
I mean, what it really comes down to is to do a great big old race somewhere. You got to go get a big venue, guys. I mean, let's be realistic. It costs a lot of money to get, say, the arena that you guys are at in August. And you guys' first race, on the 19th. It costs money to get that, to turn that place on. Let's think about that. And then you got to put some people in it to run the place. I mean, it don't run itself, so that's where all the money is. I mean, I've said this before. The person that's making the most amount of money is the person that owns the venue. I mean, really, I mean, really, he has lost money over time, but he's just getting some repayment back. But by the time you finish holding a race at his venue, you paid 80% of your costs is on that place, and so then out of that 80%, you got to come out. Out of 20%, you got to come out with winnings, functionality, paying certain people, getting things done. And hopefully you get enough sponsors to throw in enough money so that you can kind of elaborate your pilots with more stuff for winnings. And really that's what it is. And it's hard to do that because this community is so DIY, right? DIY, that we've cheapened the response. I mean, seriously, I'm just being realistic. I mean, somebody got to tell the goddamn truth.
I'll own it.
we such cheap asses that we such cheap asses that we actually robbing from ourselves for the future because we're not paying that money for it. If my car right now, if my struts blow out on my car, I'm going to spend $300. I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm just going to spend it, right? I mean,
you're not going to say that, they fell apart for no reason and trying to turn it to the manufacturer.
Exactly. I'm not going to be bitching at the manufacturer about I blew it on the pothole. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So a lot of what's going on in the market is there's a lot of opportunities for us to grow, but with us being such cheap asses, we minimize the opportunity for our sponsors to get paid back, right? I mean, we complain about motors, we complain about stuff coming out every week, but we still buying the motors.
Right, exactly.
We're still buying speed controllers, and we bitching, whining, and moaning about all of it at the same time. But I'm just being honest, man. I don't want nobody to think that I got a bone to pick with anybody. But I just seen this over time. I watch Y run races. I watch races run here. I've watched a couple of big races, F3 Expo, Nationals, Worlds. We've kind of been involved in all of them going on, and it's a lot of money that comes out, and nobody's getting paid back. I mean, me and Wyatt, we do stuff when we go to the events, and a lot of that is money out of our pockets to help promote the hobby and the business. So
exactly.
Don't forget, that's like. Me and Wyatt, we roommate buddies, because shit gets expensive.
Elvin was talking to the audience. He wasn't exactly talking to you guys. He was just
Right.
he was
I'm
venting
talking
over
to-
2017 because we've been to, in the last 2 years, me and Elvin, we've traveled all over the United States. We've been into so many events. It's like it gets exhausting. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm,
it's expensive.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad you
get
guys
it.
started off locally in your, Northwest region and have plans to expand outwards from there. And it's a good idea. And I think you guys already know this. You kind of mentioned this, but you got a lot of tech companies there. So if you can grab a few of those tech companies, they're willing to, do a little investment into you guys. You got a chance because that's, it takes a little bit of capital in order to start something like this. That's just the honest
Not a
truth
little.
to it.
Not a little.
Yeah, and Elvin hit on a lot of good points, but definitely value, value to spectators, value to sponsors, and I think there has been some sponsors in particular that felt burned in a sense from putting their money out there and promises and eyeballs and things like that. So it's it's delicate, and we're definitely looking for partners. And when you start a new endeavor, you have some unknowns and things like that. But we take an approach that we're trying to be as transparent as everything as we build this thing, and we're just looking for people that are on board with us.
Definitely. Yeah. I totally understand. Even like I've learned this year that the traditional sponsorship model just doesn't work anymore, and I had to flip it in completely different ways in order to get it to work. And it's much more difficult because you definitely get a lot less in return because you have to prove your value. So,
Right.
they have to even out, which means you get a whole lot less. That's the honest truth in 2017.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's just basically been covering prize pools, getting the pilots some prizes, to put on the races, and then the rest of it, the races have been out of, our pocket as a professional area league.
Right.
I totally understand. Kudos to you guys for doing it, but it's tough.
So
It is
sorry
very
for
tough.
you all.
Yeah,
Top
And you know
ramen,
what?
anyone?
yeah, exactly right.
Exactly.
Hey, you drop an egg in there, it becomes
Hey.
special top ramen.
Hot dogs.
That's my
and-
favorite.
That's right. Eggs and hot
Yeah,
dogs
yep.
in the top ramen, y'all. If you don't know about it, you better get some.
That's
That's
right.
funny. All right, let's go ahead and flip on to bigger and better things. Talk
Yeah,
to me
let's-
about, like, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show about making this into a sport and making this entertainment. So, like, looking forward into the future, what is your hopes and dreams that you actually see? Mike, you kind of talked about this, so I'm gonna let you go first. Preach your knowledge or preach your dreams.
Sure. So, really, we kind of came together, how we talked about earlier, after that GE2 gaming experiential entertainment event, and putting on the drone race. And really for us, the future is you can't just keep going. You can't keep selling a drone race to drone racers if you want to grow the sport. So, really what we have to do is a whole community and everybody is really focus on the outreach, and really with the FPV, local FPV groups are really great at that. But what I think we can help with as a whole of the sport is with putting on first regional and then national, and scaling nationally, is we can really kind of start the conversation a little bit more and introduce drones and FPV racing to people. And so that's in order for us all to succeed. I think we really have to take this from a small niche sport and really grow it to a wider audience.
And that's tough. And it's one of those things where you just got to keep hacking at it until it works, or at least that's what I think. What about you, Ken?
Well, I mean, let's remember what skateboarding and X Games was like, when we were kids, right? I mean, people didn't want it anywhere. They were kicked out of parks. They were kicked out of, different places, and just we're dealing with the same things, and if enough people are into the sport, I would say just as much as when skateboarding was becoming a big thing, if not maybe more, so I think it's just about legitimizing it. Let public awareness, letting the public know that drones aren't spying on you through their bathroom windows. I mean, it's, I think, a combination of things that really need to come together. But I mean, I'm extremely hopeful. I feel like that's why I do what I do is for, 2018, 19 to hopefully, get enough people together that are like, oh, drone in Seattle, that's no big deal. We go see that all the time. I mean, it shouldn't be as big of a deal as what it is, right?
It's tough. But I think there are several things that I'm really looking forward to that might solve some of that problems. Like one of the things that's got me excited, and you'll find it funny, but I'm pretty sure it's Eachine, but I think Eachine just came out with a pair of FPV goggles, fully ready to go, diversity, for $35. It's like,
I'm just gonna pretend you didn't say that.
and it's like I might be able to get a few sponsors together to buy enough of those to where I can start giving out to people that actually come to events. And it's like those type of things. Although I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be hitting up some manufacturers. Like, I need some spectator specific goggles that make things like stupid easy, because like even the ones that are $35 is like, there's too many buttons. I'm not going to be able to convince an audience member to learn this in 5 seconds. You need to
something that like auto scans, event scans, right?
Exactly.
Not even that. Like, you set it as an organizer to a channel, and each goggle has a channel with no buttons. So nobody.
That's a great idea.
That's what I really want. No buttons, no antenna sticking out. It's just, we just need one patch antenna.
A, B, C, D, and E, right? That's all you need. A couple of switches. A, B, C, D, and E. Done.
He's so funny. It'll get there. But I do think that you guys are on the right track, and I think looking at it from an entertainment point of view, we still got a long ways to go to make it actually viable. It's tough.
Yep. Well, hey, and that's kind of why we're leaning on, the esports and the ancillary entertainment, because not everybody wants to just come and watch a drone race for 6 hours, like a football game yet. But, they might want to try out some virtual reality, or they might want to, beat their kid up with some dodgeball.
I want to play some I forgot it.
They got Mortal Kombat.
Whatever you want, we got.
Mortal Kombat on the big screen, man. I want to play some Mortal Kombat on the big screen.
He's so funny. But no, like Elvin's always talked about it, right? In every event, you need some sort of outside entertainment, food, and the actual drone race itself. And if you can get all three of those together, you'll probably be able to make it entertaining.
That's right.
And you'll have a following. Well, I mean, look. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Look at what has been done before that people are going back to. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, there are some races that people go to just go. Like nationals. Any of the nationals, any one of the worlds. Anybody's going to go. Anybody who can go is going to go, because the opportunity to be there if something does happen is great, right? So, not those. I'm just talking about those other events, the little events that have people following them year after year that are not so little event. Joe Knoll, Urcha, the helicopter group. We all know Urcha, right? That's the big bang of the year. Then there's the Joe Knoll, that's the big wing guy. Airplane fixed wing thing. And then there's Probo, which is another big floater airplane thing. A lot of guys don't know about. So, there's those events are consistent, pulling thousands of pilots and families and weekends, and it's like NASCAR. You go to Urcha or Probo or the Joe Knoll. Those things is like Urcha. You got people drove halfway across the country just to hang out for a weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's what we would love to create over here on our end. It's just the Pacific Northwest is a tricky character kind of to try and figure out.
Right. Because everybody wants to be their own special thing.
Oh, you said it.
That's everywhere.
Everybody wants to be the old special.
That's everywhere. I think one of the things that we really need to concentrating on, and it goes against what I do, right? Because like I run a lot of events in very unique venues, and I don't go back, and that's fun for the pilots. But I think for the audience members, they want a little consistency. They want a little bit like I was there the first year, I was there the second year, I was there the third year, and like I think we're actually going into 2018, we're going to concentrate a little bit on that, a little consistency on having it in a venue that everybody just likes showing up and they can just mark it on their calendar every year. And it's just like, yeah, we're going to be there next year because we enjoyed ourselves. And, that's how you grow that. But we'll see.
Yeah, and that was kind of our benefit with GE2. We were there last year. We're lucky enough to get 6,500 attendees through that weekend. This weekend we're hoping to get 10, or not this weekend, but October 21st, 22nd, we're hoping to get 10 to 12,000. We were having a conversation with Joe Scully, and he was saying, the most success he has at events is usually when it's connected to ancillary activities. So I mean that's got to be the key somehow.
Yes, it is, baby.
I would agree with that, but it's like when you do that, you get the audience, but you don't have their focus. That's the problem. So
right.
you gain something, you give up something. So it's not like that's always the
focus.
Exactly.
And you're gonna have to keep building, and then it's gonna, like when we did Dover, it was we would have a couple of like maybe 1,000 people lined up for like 2 or 3 races. And then for like 2 or 3 races, there was maybe 15 or 30 people, and then there was a couple of 100 people standing around for 2 or 3 more races. And then for 2 or 3 more races, there's probably 30 or 40 people standing around. And it was kind of like in between, because we were fighting with the Monster crew, Monster, they had the quads out and the jet ski out, and I mean, not the jet ski, but the snowmobile. The guy doing backflips with the snowmobile, dude.
Over concrete. It was amazing.
Yeah. That was. I don't care who you was. When you saw homeboy go inverted in a snowmobile, you were like, "Oh shit, damn, that's badass, dude."
I just got.
We kind of just had to pause just for a moment,
Even
and
I was watching.
Yeah, if we let them kind of like, soon as they finished, bam, start a race, and we had 1,000 people locked in.
Right.
So
what was your guys' time between races, if you don't mind me asking?
I think we had a bunch of races. Like it got better day after day. You know what I mean? Like so, like the first day it was probably about 2 minutes between races, and then it started getting down to where it was like, pow, let's go. Right. Next up, bam, bam. And we couldn't keep up, not knowing the rankings at the time when we was announcing, because things was happening so fast.
By the way,
that's good. Yeah, and
scoreboard, cool idea.
yeah. Scoreboard, great idea.
I'm serious. Like, if you want the audience to pay attention, you got to give them a scoreboard, because like you don't understand if you don't give them a scoreboard.
Yeah, they need to know what's on the line.
Big screen, baby.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What'd you say, Mike?
I was just saying the audience needs to be, it needs to be communicated, to first time people seeing the sport, and like you said, a scoreboard, the audience could tell right immediately. Hey, we know exactly what's on the line here. First place team is going against the third place team, whatever it may be. But so absolutely, those visuals and everything are a big thing.
And like I said before, we understand that these things cost money to turn these things on, and people have them run them. So, I mean, these are the things that race organizers make changes in their planning when they're designing these things, because we all have these great hopes, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a goggle bar over here and a goggle bar over there, and these guys are gonna come in here and they're going to show these guys are going to do some flips over here in this tent, and nobody's going to be scared to death in this tent, and realize what happens is only one ship shows up. You know, you expected 20, and only one shows up. So you only got one set of goggles or one ship to loan out. You know, it is, you know. Anyway, but it's knowing that you guys have plans is going to be great, because in the end, like we said, if you don't get people to come in to be consistent to watch your races, like Wyatt was saying, he was saying, you know, that because he's done one in the cave, and everybody really wants to tell you all right now, everybody really want to go back to the cave. Everybody is begging to go back to the cave. People, you know. And I'm thinking maybe we could figure out, maybe we could get a pro aerial inside the cave kind of race
That
or
sounds
something.
great to me.
Team race. I don't know. I'm gonna work my line, man. I'm gonna tell you, Ken. I'm gonna work my line on why, but it
Putting
ain't
you
gonna
on
work,
mute.
But,
Putting you on mute. He knows exactly how much it takes to run an event.
Oh yeah,
It's
dude,
multi-day events, man. They're tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
Well, and in the cave, so that's the one with the LED lights and the
babe.
and everything, right? So
That's
I will
bad.
say that we're building a pretty badass LED course for the arena, and
Nice.
that course we will be able to take and repurpose for other events.
Oh yeah.
that helps a lot. It helps a lot. You know, one of the things that it's not that we argue, but there's a pro and con to it, is that like when you have those LED courses, it's going to be made out of metal. I'm sorry to tell you this, right? And when quads hit metal, the metal usually doesn't give. I'm sorry to tell you this. And that's one of the things
We're
that's
covering
tough.
ours in plumbing foam.
In what?
Plumbing foam. You know that foam that goes around plumbing? It's like thick foam.
Black insulation plumb.
Yes, sir. Yep. So we're going to wrap that and then the LEDs around that. So to hopefully have some forgiveness around the metal.
I hope so.
Work a little bit.
I get a lot of complaints. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, it's like you whatever. You know, you can't have it. You can't win. That's all I'm gonna say. It's like
or you can never win, right?
Right.
No, I got you, buddy.
You can only please 5, maybe 4. No, maybe just worry about 1.
No.
Just worry about the 1.
Just make yourself happy.
There you go.
That's all you got to do. If you do that, then
that's
as
I'm
others will carry
talking,
along.
just talking as organizers right now, right?
That's right.
Right.
All right. So let's go ahead and you're so funny. All right. Now you're throwing me off. So
good. I love it.
I know you do. So Ken, any final thoughts that you want to give us on the, you know, are you guys actually going to start to use the word PAL, or are you just going to stick with Pro Aerial League?
You know, I like PAL. I think we're going to use Pro Aerial League as much as possible until the fans start using PAL. You know. Just you know, I mean, but I think there's a lot of benefits to, you know, that acronym in itself.
Cool.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
because I was like, hey, ooh, PAL.
Yeah, right.
I used to play for the PAL League.
The PAL League. I like that. No,
yeah,
that means league is twice in there.
That's a little redundant though. PAL League. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Cool. Any final thoughts, Ken?
You know, guys, I had a lot of fun.
Hold on a second. I can't hear a thing. Mike, are you messing around over there?
I'm not doing anything. But
Okay.
Yeah, I hear Ken now.
Okay, go Ken.
Yeah, I just want to say I had a lot of fun, you guys. Hopefully we'll be invited back. We didn't screw too much up today. Thank you so much for having us. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, if you don't mind me name dropping. I'd like to throw them out there. We've got Fat Shark, Max Amps, Thrust UAV. Team Black Sheep has started to have conversations with us a little bit. We're getting their event tracker for our timing systems. Liftoff, as our drone simulator, has partnered up with us. They're going to be helping us with sims at our events. And also, we're going to be able to give out some licenses to our spectators. Who else? Flyblocks, which is really cool, that just came on board with us. Fox Sports here locally, KRKO. Classic Country, KXA, the Everett Post, Virtual Sports, which is one of our partners, and they're great here locally. And of course, the city of Everett and the Xfinity Arena and Seattle Multi-Rotors. Woo, go guys! And I think I covered. Is that everybody, Mike?
I think that Fat Shark came in huge for us too. They've been very supportive too. So
yeah, you've said that. You've said that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Everybody knows the Fat Shark is all about racing. Fat Shark is nuts. We know those guys. They're awesome. Him and Greg and Dave.
They're always fun. So, Mike, any finishing thoughts for you?
No, thanks guys for having us on, like Ken said, and we want to invite you guys out too. So August 19th, if you can make it, if not October 21st, be great to have you guys out and and appreciate what you guys do growing the sport.
Hey,
thank you.
It's always fun. Okay, so before we actually closed up the show, Ken, if somebody wants to reach out to you to help you out, get more information, where can they reach you at?
You know what? Reach out to me at my email is easy. ken@proaerialleague.com. You can find me on Facebook even. Ken Allison. I think I'm the only one in Seattle. But yeah, email is usually easy. Just reach out to me and I am on it. And I will respond. Absolutely.
That's the truth because we talk over email. So Ken is very responsive. He's good at that. What about you, Mike? Where can people reach you if they have questions, they want to help out, yada, yada, yada?
Sure. So, mine's one more letter difficult than Ken's. Mike at proaerialleague.com. But, anybody that wants to reach out with anything, we're definitely looking for partners as we grow our league and grow the sport. So get a hold of me with anything. I'll respond via email too.
Definitely. And you know what? We're hoping that you have a very successful season. And then, in 2018, if you start expansion, I guarantee you, I'll be paying attention. Hope you guys start expanding, because here's the things, like in every major sport, there has to be different flavors of the sport, right? There's just no one type of football. There's no one type of NASCAR race or racing, not NASCAR racing. So everybody has their own brand and their own flavors, and there's, more people that can compete. That's what's important. And that's why we're all here, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Yeah.
Okay. We are going to start wrapping this up. Thank you so much for being here.
Guys.
Yeah, and talking about the Pro Aerial League. And we definitely hope that you guys have a very successful season.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, cutting out.